Well, well. Let's do this for 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the world's famous Billions Watched. We're live on YouTube. I know, it's been a long time. I think the last time we did a podcast was like, if I looked the last time we did one, it was about like a month and about 2 weeks now. So it's one of the things where I want to make sure that basically when I'm in the mood to do a podcast, then that's the time to do it. I never want to be in a position where I'm forcing myself to do a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be here and then try to talk to you about something and my heart's not really into it. So I always pick and choose, like, okay, when should I do a podcast? When do I feel like I'm ready to do it? And sometimes like I do need to sometimes kick myself in the pants and say, let's go do this. This is what you're meant to do and you should do it. But life gets in the way. And then, like outside of my life, and if you guys follow me on TikTok, completely a different story. I'm doing the singing there. I'm playing video games. And then lately, as you're not aware, I help moderate my friend. And I've said her many times here on this podcast where her name is Maisa Girl. And she's a ghost hunter in the Philippines. I'll put something right here so you can see who she is. If you want to follow her YouTube channel, she's doing strong. She's about to hit 12,000. TikTok, she's at 400, almost 460,000 now. She's probably way beyond that, near 500,000. But I help her and moderate her chat. It's crazy too because of the fact of, picture me, I am a fam that was born from the United States, and I'm trying to moderate someone in which their chat is predominantly Tagalog. That itself is a freaking challenge. And you're probably asking yourself, how the heck do you do that if you don't understand Tagalog? The best way, and thanks to technology, I use ChatGPT. So in the background, I'm running ChatGPT just to figure out, okay, I mean, there's certain words and phrases in Tagalog. Now, mind you, I am in the Philippines right now. I'm in Bohol. But what has been surrounding me, and especially like my upbringing, like, my parents, they would speak the native tongue of Bohol, which is Bisaya. So it's Cebuano, essentially. So I'm more used to speaking that, and I'm more understanding, like in comprehension level, what Bisaya means, and I can speak it a little bit, improving every day. But it's one of the challenges that you just have to get out of comfort zone, and you just have to do it because of the fact of, if you don't force yourself to learn something, you don't force yourself to learn a language, and even though you maybe have this fear that, oh my God, I might sound terrible, get engrossed with that fear, then you're never gonna learn. You're never gonna figure it out. For me, and I told the story before, like being in Bohol, I forced myself to speak Bisaya because of the fact of, I'm living here now, might as well learn the language, because like I know if you're a person who understands like social dynamics, how people react and whatnot, you'll know that if you talk someone's language or talk their native tongue, they're basically going to be more comfortable to you, regardless of what people say. It's a thing I always hear, especially from my older. He speaks predominantly English. And then at times he tries to attempt to speak Bisaya, but as soon as he feels uncomfortable, he goes immediately to English. That's where it goes back to, again, like he's fine with it. And he always says the dynamic to me is like, well, if these people are speaking English to me, then that's fine. But what you do realize is sometimes when you speak a person's native tongue, you feel that connection when they open up to you and they realize, oh my God, I don't have to speak this English anymore because I just don't understand it. And now I understand what he means when he speaks my native tongue. Like, you can get more personal with him. So that's where, like, for example, here in the Philippines, I am attempting and trying to understand the Bisaya language while I'm here in Bohol. Also, too, my goal is eventually, when it comes down to it, and this is where it kind of ties into helping moderate my friend Maisa Girl, or learning and trying to master Tagalog. And imagine, like, I think it's bits and pieces too. Like, I'm appreciative like her because of the fact that, like, yes, we have an interesting relationship where most of it's from ChatGPT, but I think for the most part, she's entrusted me as a friend to moderate her. It can be a challenge. She's a woman, so you can imagine what kind of stuff she does get where people probably look beyond the ghost hunt, if you know what I mean. So I have to moderate that and make sure it's clean, because I know she looks from time to time, she looks at her chat and she's like, no, oh my God, what's this again? So going back to what I was saying, is like, yeah, it is a challenge. But I think for me, it's like, to learn it, to master it. It helps me. So slowly but surely, I'm going to say, baby, because I'm living here the long term. There's no plan of me moving back to the United States at all. So I'm here in the Philippines. One of my main goals is one, yes, be fluent in Bisaya. And the other one is going to be at least be somewhat fluent or have a higher comprehension level in the main Filipino language, is Tagalog. So I've been doing a lot of that, monitoring her, just helping her, things where as a supporter of her, a believer of her, and there's a group of 6 of us. We do that also as well. The most hilarious part is like, when they get muted or they get blocked, it always goes towards me. And I think it's because of, obviously, like, I speak English and I'm the most visible there, if you know what I mean. So I've been doing that, and then there's just been a lot of stuff in, like, as in my personal life that we've been doing. Again, I am an individual that lives in the Philippines, and if you didn't know from all these podcasts I do talk about, like, I'm an entrepreneur. So not only is my purpose project number one this, by at least going behind this camera, and maybe you're on Spotify, or maybe you're on Apple Podcasts, or maybe you're here on YouTube, or you're watching my shorts, or you're on TikTok watching my shorts and trying to figure out what the heck is he saying. Like, this is my passion project. This is something that, like, I would hope it's for those individuals who look at this, or they're going through something, or they need some clarification in their life, that maybe one day they find my podcast. And that's the main goal of it. And on top of that too, is just we are trying to run a business over here. And it's always a challenge in the first, I think it's really the first official year that we're actually going full head steam. It is uncomfortable, but it's just like one of the things that you just have to, I guess you can say, breathe it or live with it. You know what I mean? So that's also in the stuff that's in the playing the cards. I mean, I think for the most part, and I talked about this, and yet you're seeing the title of what we're going to talk about. It's just like having the fear part. And I'm going to try to at least talk about it a little bit later, but I just want to at least talk about current events where I've been. But the main topic we're going to talk about is fear. Fear is among us, but it's one of the things where I feel that, how are you going to react to your fear? Are you going to react to your fear in which, like, it may force you to be comfortable, if you know what I mean, where you don't want to mitigate risk, you just want to be safe, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to be safe, then please be safe. But also, the other side of that is essentially, okay, well, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to go right in front of this fear and see how far I can really go. And it's like one of the things where it's just 2 sides of the coin. Like, what do you decide to do? What do you want to be? What kind of tolerance of risk do you want? Because I think, in my opinion, in my eyes, where depending how much risk you take or how uncomfortable you'll be will determine, like, okay, well, it could be that, and this is going in the perspective of you have a certain purpose of why, like going towards being comfortable to uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable, in my opinion, and this is my opinion now to what I'm saying, to each his own, the individuals who disagree, and that's perfectly fine. I think sometimes being uncomfortable will always open up way more doors than just being comfortable. I've had a lot of friends in the United States where find being comfortable. So I am 40 plus years old. So I've been in the corp world for 15 years. So I had friends who they would say, like, oh, be prepared and do all this. Make sure your retirement set up, maximize your portfolio, because when you retire at 55 to 60, you're going to have this nest egg and have the time of your life. And I've always been that individual. I look at them and just like, I don't want to do that. Why do I want to wait till my 55 to 60 to enjoy my life? If you know what I mean, like enjoy retirement. Because there's been plenty of examples, and you have to be honest with yourself, where what if you don't make it to that age, and all that time of working hard in your life and hustling and setting up your retirement, your nest egg, to make sure, like, when you get to 55, that you have all the money in the world, you could travel and do whatever you want. But what if you don't make it? So all that hard work and what you have done, it just goes completely nothing. And just remember, and I always am a believer, we're just like, you can't bring that with you when you move forward. Any of that stuff, like, for example, where the things you do on this planet, whether it's your accolades, the money you've manifested, any certain things that are materialistic to you, like if you bought, let's be honest here, if you had like an LV wallet or an LV purse, or you have the nice cars, and like United States, talking in terms of the United States, of like you bought the Teslas, you can't bring it forward to the next platform, if you know what I mean. You can't. So this is where, like, you just like, and we're kind of talking about now. I know we're talking about where I want to get into, but it's those things where you have to realize that you're not gonna be able to bring that to the next part. So why, in my mind, thinking about, like, okay, why should I just wait and play safe and you play safe to the point that you actually miss out on something, right? Like versus taking the risk, calculated risk by that, not unrealistic risk, like the risk in which like you just forget all your responsibilities and just take the risk, but that's not smart. But if you take a calculated risk to figure out, okay, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to find out. Or the universe is like I'm talking in my terms, the universe is giving me a avenue or a path to figure it out. Are you going to take it or not? And that's where like I want to talk about today is just like fair. I think before we do that, let's recap of my life right now. So I mean, like, yeah, I just been doing that, helping my friend Maisa girl. It's wild, like how I always reflect on our relationship. As like how I have made a friendship with someone who lives in the Philippines. English is not their first language, but somehow we get along. And I think it's basically like just like the genuine, when you meet someone genuine, and I tell everyone here, like for example, I am authentic. I will put a description what authentic means, but basically I'm who I am. I don't wear a mask. I am completely genuine when it comes to individuals and who they are and what they are to me. Like I have no reason to hide myself. But what you get out of that is a person who will be there in and out. I think it's a term like I was using recently where it's just like love hard or friendship hard. As in term of friendships, friend hard, where I will go to bat to the end to make sure that I'm supporting or believing in whatever you do. And that's the main thing of is like gaining my trust and everything. We're just like, I will do that because I'm a friend. That's what friends should be doing in a sense. Like, yes, some friends can compete and that's fine and everything. But it's just like, in my mind, it should be, if you're competing with your friend, it should be in the sense where it's just like, you're trying to up level each other as in like you're working together to get better. When I think about that as a term of a friendship, basically like I'm going to make sure I'm going to be there. I'll make sure I'm present. The main thing of my terms and when I talk about being a friend is the consistency. Like the consistency, for example, like as in doing the same thing you do every morning. I kid you not. There's a handful of people I do this right now. I say good morning to them every day, regardless of what the circumstance is. If they're my friend, I'll say good morning to them or good evening or ask the courteous questions of how are you doing? I think sometimes I get this feeling and I get worrisome. And this is where when my friend called it out. It's like, you think too much. And sometimes I do. It things I deal with is like sometimes I think of variables in my mind that where like I'm just like, am I doing too much? Am I talking too much? Like goodness gracious, like the many variables that run to my mind is like, okay, well, shoot, what's going on here? What's going on in the circumstance? Why am I not getting the response I'm getting? Blah 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 blah. Is something really going on? Like that's my mind going 1,000 miles per hour. So, and thank goodness that I found an avenue where I can help mitigate those solutions, which is meditation. If I weren't meditating every day, I'll be honest with you, it'll be so much of a freaking damn challenge to go through this life. All this overthinking, and it's funny and hilarious when like my friend mentioned to me, like, man, you overthink so much. Stop. I can see in your eyes. And it's funny because like they were talking about it, like I think where I was talking to them yesterday, so I can see in your eyes, like you're thinking too much. Stop. And it's just like, for things like that, I think it's just for me, it's just because of my past, right? Like I want to at least make sure that I show who I was, because before then, back then, where I wasn't this individual now, I've told you this, and I'll talk real quick. Super duper insecure. I was afraid of who I was, but I would lay down to people because of the fact of, do I want to lose a friendship? Now it's a little bit different, where I can give 2 fucks if you like me or not. It's up to you. I know who I am. I don't need to advertise who I am to you. That if we vibe, we vibe. Once I determined there's an individual as a friendship, and I tell everyone this, we all started friends, regardless of the circumstance. Like if it's the opposite sex, we all start with friends, regardless of what it is. I don't do the immediately just jump into the thing and figure out the relationship. No, we start as friends. But I think for the most part, it's like once I gain trust, and this applies for my homies who are guys and my friends who are females. Once you gain that trust with me, you receive a person who's genuine, and they will bat for you. In a sense where you need their support in certain things, they will help you out to the best that they can. They cannot hold your hand, but they will help and provide suggestions how to improve. Like even especially with my content creation friends, where they're asking me, like they're not even asking me about feedback, but I tell them, I was like, hey, I feel like you're gonna do better if you do this, or think about this way, or think about that way, because of the fact of I'm going to perspective that I want them to win, or I want them to win even more. especially like for people I know that they're much bigger than me, without saying names. I always tell them like, look, I'm in a position to like have them improve because of the fact that like I can see as a person who gains their trust and they see the vision of what they are, their purpose of who they are, I can see how far they can go. And whether or not I am an individual who is an expert in what they're doing based on what they tell me they do or what I see they do, I will probably the suggestions that I think will work, and maybe not. And again, it's totally based on choice. They can take my opinion and go, Joe, whatever, you're out of this league. Or the genuine ones that you do find where they actually take it in, they're like, I think Joe got a point. And I have to take it back to like situations where I've told people, like when this podcast lived in TikTok, where I was telling people just like, think about bigger than TikTok, because what if TikTok disappears? Yeah, what if TikTok disappears? What are you going to do? All those partnerships or all those relationships you build on TikTok, which are based on TikTok, you lose them all. So what should you do? You should think bigger than TikTok. And I've always said that in the beginning, which is like spread your wings and fly, because of the fact of you don't know what is out there unless you put yourself out there. It's just like me when I talk about it multiple times, where like, I'm on many platforms, as for example, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, 5. So who knows what of how far you go. But it's one of the things like where versus you putting one thing in the basket, and it's perfectly fine if you put one thing in the basket. It may take a little longer, but if you put your hands in other baskets as well, you might have another chance to find more avenues where maybe you're going to thrive more. Or maybe there's one specific where you're like, oh goodness, I didn't even pay attention to this. I need to focus my efforts over there. I've done this to one of my friends where it's just like, I see the potential in them, where it's like, wow, my goodness, you are doing so great, but I think you should do here because I see what you tell me and you're not getting your full potential, if you know what I mean. Full potential of what you can possibly get out of it. So it's one of the things like someone who puts it so much like 1,000% input and then the output they're getting as in what should be expected return. Let's be honest, like revenue, if it's not matching, and it's just like, you gotta think about this stuff. And this is where like I see that where a person works so hard and thank goodness now this person's like, they're finally reaping the rewards of like what they should have got from the beginning. But I think for the most part, like reaping the rewards of their success. And this is where most people like, where if they don't see the success up front, they will probably quit and say, oh, fuck this. Like, this is not worth my time. Why am I going to waste my time? But versus the person who just keeps on going. Like even here on my podcast, right? Yes, I have 42 subscribers and some people may think, oh my God, that's not enough, man. Like you should just quit already. But what happens if like, for example, the next podcast you do or the next short that you do just goes viral and then you just stopped? And that's what I'm saying, right? I always want to influence my friends to do better. I want to, when I see the potential in them, for a sense, so like I see what they can do, I'm going to provide my suggestions. I'm going to say like, hey, I think you'll do great here. I could do this and that, because at the end of the day, like people are meant to do so much better, but sometimes it may need support from their circle to tell them how to look at stuff or how to deal with things. Like, yes, this is the same thing I always talk about as well. At the end of the day, people can tell you so many opinions of what you should do and this and that, whether it could be some stuff like you shouldn't do this, or it can be the stuff where like, maybe think about this. Okay, this may not be your cup of tea, but have you thought about doing this? At the end of the day, I want those people in my circle where they give me constructive criticism to say like, hey, think about this. Maybe you should do it this way, versus individuals who are going to basically tell you something in which there's fear. You know what I mean? There's fear when they're in their mind where just like they're telling you based on their own fear to say don't do it. And this is where like you have to make the choice of like, okay, well, who do you want around you? And that's where like it always ties to like the people, without saying names of who they are, like where some people I see, for example, they take the information from individuals who don't even understand them or who don't believe in their product, and then find out that it kind of turns their purpose to nothing. It turns their purpose to dust because they listen to people who didn't believe, versus the situation where I'm doing to my friends. We're just like, hey, think about this, doing this, whether or not they take the information. However, you see they're doing things and they thought about it. So this person thinking about like, she's on one platform. Okay, let's talk about it. What are you talking about? Like she's super duper strong. If you go to TikTok, she's almost 500,000. But I went in her ear and I was like, hey, think about this. You probably should go to YouTube. Focus your efforts on YouTube. You know why? Because I think the monetization is gonna be a little bit better and your reach is much, much more. Yes, in the Philippines, if you're familiar with the problem with TikTok, in my honest opinion, the only way you get monetized is through the gifts. So like in the United States, for example, once you hit a certain follower count, which is 10,000, you get into monetization. What is monetization usually be is like the ad revenue that you receive on your videos that you post or things you do or whatnot. That's not in the Philippines. So what is the other side of avenue or revenue from that? In the Philippines, is people going gifts. So I don't have to describe, and you probably know this, I don't have to describe what gifts mean, but basically it's another income generator in the Philippines. There's also memberships in TikTok, but it's just like, depending on who you talk to, who can afford it, and majority of the people can't afford the super fan, as you could say, for TikTok. So now going with this situation where like thinking about YouTube, where it's like, okay, well, yes, it may take time to make so many millions of dollars, but however, it opens up other avenues, in my opinion, when you're on YouTube. So, you know, they have the ad rev from your videos and whatnot or whatever you post. But the thing is, like, it might be small and minuscule, but imagine how big the person will get. Like, for example, Moisa girl, she's probably going to grow and get to, I believe she'll get to 100,000. That is how big and how much her growth has been for like at least, like, think about it. I think like a month ago, she was literally like a month and a half ago, she was literally at 5,000 and now she's near like almost 12,000. In my mind, at the end of the year, she's probably going to be much, much bigger, where like, not only are you going to get the better revenue out of it, and also to the people who send super fan chats, the revenue you might get from videos, it's probably bigger. But what's most important is the building of maybe sponsorships. I don't know how it works for like TikTok, for example, the sponsorships, but like sometimes I see that it's based upon if you join a group or whatnot, because most of the time I see that because like I'm growing on TikTok as well. And I'm starting to see more and more of those where like people are just coming out of the woodwork and just asking them. However, you gotta be careful. Most of those are fucking scams. But I think here, once you get a certain point in TikTok, depending who you talk to, and this is where also too, there's a networking vehicle as well. But this is where I have to open eyes to her, which is like, okay, well, look, this is where you have to think about it. Where maybe you should focus your efforts here, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. And like, yeah, to end it short, just like I appreciate when people take my guidance. And sometimes it's just like, yes, if you never dealt with a genuine individual like me, you might get irritated. And that's fine. But the people who actually realize my saying is legitimate, or my saying at least genuine, in the sense where it's just like I'm looking at the benefit for them. It's amazing when you make those connections with people where just like they really, really understand what you mean. And this is where like sometimes for my overthinking, am I sharing too much information with you, or am I doing too much where you're probably thinking I want to be more of a friend? You know what I mean? That's the stuff that I have to deal with sometimes, depending, especially if it's a female, or just like most people might think, oh, you're just doing this for this. No, it's not. And I have to remind people, individuals who are listening to me, where it's just like, friendships are more important. Especially me in the Philippines, where it's just like, I have to build from nothing, as in friendship. And one of the first things I did was like join TikTok. And then somehow, some way, I built a lot of friendships on TikTok. So most of my friends are digital, but it's okay. Especially where I'm at in the Philippines, and behold, like I'm slowly building a base too. My brother's thriving. The thing with my brother can just talk to anybody, regardless of who they are. I think for me, I can do the same, but I think what happens to me when I talk to certain individuals, I go to being observant, where I'm looking to think, okay, just look at the situation, assessing who it is. Because I think sometimes for me, I have issues sometimes where it's just small talk. And it's just like, yeah, small talk needs to happen. And sometimes you have to do icebreakers and all that. But like what really drives me to get to know individuals is see how they can handle deep conversations. So when they can handle deep conversations, and then you can see their worth, or see what they're about, see what their past is, that shows a lot about them. And it shows who they are. And it shows like what's important to them and what's not. And then I'm not trying to say that, okay, shit, we're going to have deep conversations every day, because man, that's going to be so freaking, I'll be honest, at some point it can get boring, and it can be like, it can probably be hard to keep on going. But what I'm saying is just like, I always appreciate individuals where they can handle conversation, because you get to know a lot about somebody. That being said, it's just like, I always appreciate when folks can just even get to conversation. Like even the people who know me, like it's funny because when people find out like I have a podcast here in the Philippines, there was one guy here who he was just talking about my podcast and my success and believing what I believe, and all of a sudden it just branches to a conversation of like just manifestation, law of attraction. Those are things I talk about. Even too, like if it comes to a situation where like someone who's trying to not, attack me, but they're trying to justify it and have a healthy conversation, I'm willing to have that. Like, even if it's something where like, okay, I don't believe any of your stuff with law of attraction, home mumbo jumbo. I'm religious. I believe in this faith. I believe in that. And then we have going back and forth. Sure. But it has to be friendly, because I always say that, like, people can agree to disagree at the end of the day. So you may not like what I say, but this is what I believe in, but to each his own. That's up to you. And what I tell you is like, you're free to believe in what you want to believe, whatever it has built you, your structure to what it is now. Again, mind you could always change your structure based on your experiences. But if you're completely finding who you are, then what am I going to do? Why would I? What is going to have me? What am I going to do to you to change? We're completely fine. So like, teach his own. So like, this is where, like, for friends, and I think we're talking kind of go off tangent, but like, this is the per meaning of me. It's just like, I friend hard, and sometimes I worry that when I friend too hard, it might distance people away from me, because they say, wow, this guy's intense. But the ones who actually can take it, and I've said there's plenty, a handful of people I ran into, it's just like, wow, this guy, he's amazing. And this is where, like, that going batting for people and this and that. I will bat for anybody until it gets to a point of this. And I mentioned this plenty of times. I'm what you say 100-0. So what I mean by 100-0, I'll go, once you gain my trust, I'll go for bat for whatever you do. I believe. And once you tell me what your passion is, I will probably more likely believe in it. If it's something legitimate, if it's fucking silly, then I'm gonna laugh at you. But if it's something that's an actual passion, I see what you're doing, you love what you're doing, then that's where I'm gonna encourage you, man. You should think about this or do this. I take an interest in you. But as soon as like, it's something where like I find out like, okay, you're not being authentic to me, and I'm being authentic to you, I'm being genuine, and I find out that you're not being as genuine as you are, or you're saying things mean about me, and I find out, that's where our relationship probably goes sour. We'll go ahead and go to zero. And what I mean by zero is like, I totally disconnect. I do. I totally get some disconnect. I think it's my mind because of and before I got to this point I am now, where I was super insecure. Now I'm just like who I am. I just know who I am. When the meaning of zero is basically, I just disconnect. I don't have time to deal with people who I can't see eye to eye anymore, or individuals where you lost my trust. I can't. Because I don't have time for that. And just even especially at my age. And I think I realized this, like, the older you get, and this is probably for everyone else, the older you get, more selective in your friends. You're more selective of who you want to be around with, because of the fact of you don't have time. You're busy doing your own thing. And sometimes it's even better where it's just like finding people who are the similar nature as you, because it makes it so much easier in, like, especially in conversations. Like, it's hard. Like my brother, for example, again, my brother can talk to anybody about who they are, regardless of what they believe in and who they are and what affiliation, what gender identity are. He'll talk to anyone. For me, it's just like, it depends. I think it's also too, I'm just selective. It's just making sure, like, it's like, okay, is this person of value? Is this someone who I can learn from? That's the most important thing. Can I learn something from you? Can I learn something in which, like, I will take it and just like, wow, this is amazing. I want to know more about this person. Wow, this person has an amazing gift. Okay. Like, for example, like me, like just having a purpose and why, just be like, okay, this guy's going in the camera and talking about his podcast and doing all this stuff. Like, he's going something he believes in. And his main thing is like to find individuals who are going to find his words and be like, wow, you changed my life. And that's one of the things where I like, it's just like that stuff. But going back to the zero thing, just like since I don't have no time, I just disconnect. I don't have time for you. You basically meaningless to me. You go to dust. Hate to say it. And I have to tell the people, even the ones I'm close with, like the friends who gain my trust, and I tell them, like, this is gonna happen to you, or maybe you do it to me. I don't know. But the thing you have to realize, and I always mentioned this before, is just like, you're gonna run into situations where, like, friends come and go. Given the circumstance of if you are changing your perspective of life of who you're gonna be, you have to understand your friends are may change as well. Because those friends who were at a stage of your life or a thinking set, they may not like what you believe in now. And you'll see that dynamic. You'll see what I mean, where like things don't necessarily jive together, if you know what I mean. And it's just like, you might see the disassociation from them and they stop being your friend, maybe. However, there are situations where you are going to find individuals and friends where like they have somewhat of a similar alignment to you, whether it's spiritually, whether it's they believe the same way, the same personality dynamic, or they're doing kind of something similar to you. you'll be surprised like how many people you're gonna find too. And those are the right individuals at the right moment in time where they're gonna help uplift you. So this is why I go back again, cherishing individuals like that. And at this point in my life, I have found a lot of individuals who are similar to me, or just like they talk the same thing, or I find out, oh, this is why we are connecting, because we have the spiritual connection, or we believe in the certain things and values, or we're doing the same kind of purpose project in a sense. We're doing something we really love, and we do it because we want to do it, not just for somebody. For example, I do this podcast because I love doing this. And hopefully, one way or another, someone will listen to this and they'll be like, realize, wow. And that's the thing I get out of this. Going back to the friendship dynamic, it's just like, I always think in my head, it's like, am I doing too much? And this goes with the overthinking. I think in my mind, I just trying to want to be the best version of myself to individuals, but just like the same way, like that comes in the way where it's just like, okay, am I doing too much? Am I doing this? What if I said this? And I always am an individual. If I have a conversation like in the chat room, I always review what I say. Just trying to make sure that did I miss something, or did I say something in the wrong way, or do I need to clarify something? Did I miss something in the conversation? I always do that to all my conversations because I want to make sure like I'm thorough, because what if there's a certain thing I freaking missed? And then I realized like there's probably something that person was asking me to do, or they're getting feedback and I didn't pay attention to that. And it's just like, man, and this is where the overthinking happens, where it's like, oh, they're probably thinking in their minds like, oh, I can't trust this guy anymore. I can't ask him this question. And that's like, well, I don't want to do that. At least if we've gained a level of trust where we believe in each other, and we're at that level where you can show me things, or I can give you feedback. Like, I want you to be open with me at the end of the day. This is where like trying to be as transparent as possible, you are being genuine as you can be, can level out who's going to be in your right side or not. And this is where you determine like, who's the right people you should talk to, who are the people to hang out with, when is the right appropriate time to even talk to them. Just like even like for example today, like when we went to lunch at a nearby restaurant, and it was for one of the friends we know who owns it, where they're leaving back to Lithuania, and we wanted to stop by and have lunch at his restaurant. And then here's my brother. I can see my brother. He was just talking 500,000 miles per hour. And then for me, I was just like observant, seeing what's going on. Like I'll put my input here and there, but just like that's usually me though. I think for the most part, I will put my input when it's needed. But in the same way, it's just like, okay, well, if I'm doing something in the end, like it's always I'm that individual. Like if I'm always multitasking in my mind while working with certain people, unless they grab my attention, like, oh, Joe, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. So like the owner, my friend who owns that restaurant, he's like, oh, I saw you're live on TikTok. And I do this all the time, by the way. I play music while I go to sleep. So he's like, oh, you're live at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, and I clarify with him. I was actually just playing music because I use music to listen, and sometimes people join me to listen and this and that. So it's kind of like a dual service, if you guys can say. Depending on the circumstance what they talk about, if it's something that's like of interest. And again, I do pay attention to certain people, but just like I just rather listen to see what people are talking about versus like putting my input in. Especially my brother, like I want him to be who they are and to keep on speaking how they feel like they want to talk to individuals, right? So that's like an example of my brother, and it's just this is who I am in the sense where it's just like always in that situation I overthink about friendships and whatnot. Just like, am I doing too much? And then this is where like when I review certain conversations and then it runs in thought in my mind, it's just like, okay, what did I do now? Did I miss something, or did I did this? I think it's because I friend hard sometimes. It's not about I friend hard. So anyway, when it comes to me being your friend, you're gaining my trust in the sense where just like we are now friends, and I'm as genuine as like be. I'll take the bat for you. If you had to go to battle for somebody, I will be there in the front line. Until I realize that you're crossing my path and this is not, then I would just pump my battle away. And I was like, all right, good luck. But please believe, when you gain my trust, I'll go battle you 100%. Might be the strategic man of just saying like, hey, you should think about doing this before we go get destroyed by these people. But I think for the most part, that's who I am, being a friend. I'm saying this multiple times. It's just like, I always worry so much if I'm doing too much to people, or I'm saying not too much. Like my brother, for some odd reason, and I think like, man, like you need more friends. You need to go do this. You need to go do this, blah, blah, blah. Go hang out with this. Like one of the things he's doing right now is he got into pickleball. And it's funny too, because of the fact of like, I really think this phenomenon is, I don't know. People think it's fun, but it's one of those things where like, it's just like you catch the itch and all of a sudden you're just doing it every day. And like 100% it's like pickleball is life now. That's my brother now. He's pickleball's life. He has made a community organization in Bohol of pickleball people. And it's like, goodness gracious, like, oh, he does that because he wants to network. But it's funny too, because he's asking me to do it. But when I watch these people play pickleball, I'm like, oh my God, this is not what I want to do. And I think it's for individuals that, like, you are a person who used to play ping pong or used to play tennis. That might be the best thing for you, right? But for me, who has been always, I never played tennis in my life. I never really played ping pong in my life. I don't have an interest in it. I hate to say it, right? I don't have an interest in it at all, but it's just like, it's good. Like, I see my brother saying, like, you can meet friends, but like, okay, if you're not playing, then how do you connect to them? If you know what I mean? He's been trying to get me to play pickleball. And I'm just like, I go, right? I've gone a couple times and it looks fun. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, it looks like something like, as in like, so, and I'm going to lead to about it. Like, you know, for example, for exercise or whatnot. But like, I think for the most part, it's fun, but I just don't have no interest to it. Like, I'm not gonna force myself to get into something I don't like. Like, it's funny too, because my brother's like, he's the one, he's like, as soon as he gets some interest or something, and he's a community builder, I guess you can say. Like, he's the voice. I think, like, I feel his ultimate goal here in the province of Bohol is to be the voice of his community. Like, whether you are LGBTIQ or you're just a person who wants to meet, he wants to be the front man who's facilitating all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, go for it. That's all you. So like when he invites me to these pickleball places, and I'm just like, okay, I look at it and I'm sitting there. I don't know. I just don't find any interest in it. So it's funny too, because he's been trying to push me, and he's like put me in this pickleball group. And then I always tell him, like, why do you, like, okay, I don't want to play pickleball. I say, what, you want to take you out of the group? I can. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You can keep me in there. But it's just like, again, I don't find the interest in it. And it's hilarious because it comes to a point, my brother's trying to get a custom pickleball paddle, whatever you call it, and then getting the shoes for it. Like, but let me give you an example. My brother has played tennis before when he was younger. So this is where the affiliation of, okay, I love pickleball because this is what I kind of did before. And the same thing too is just with ping pong. Like, people who like to do that, and also too, I understand, like, pickleball is probably a good exercise because of the fact it is low impact in the sense because you're playing with a paddle and then like those wiffle balls. It's the hollow balls. So it's not so impactful into like a workout. Like, you'll probably be tired from it, but it's just not going to be so like demanding in a sense. But yeah, I don't know. I really have never got like the itch. And I think it's hilarious because, like, I remember seeing it back when I was living in the United States. I see all these people, these influencers are following. I followed on YouTube, and like, oh my God, we picked up this sport called pickleball. Oh, it's so amazing. Wow. And then like coming here to the Philippines, I see the growth's happening again for pickleball. It's just like pickleball this, pickleball that. Like, oh my goodness. Like, even like my brother's friend, he's taking advantage of it. He's building pickleball courts because of the fact that the demand is so high in here in Bohol, where people want to play or whatnot. It's going crazy. So I just can't affiliate myself to that. Like, I don't find no interest in playing pickleball. I think part of it too is just like, yeah, I think my hand-eye coordination is good, but just like, I feel like I'm gonna miss it. It's hilarious too, because we're talking about fear. So maybe they have a fear that I'm gonna look silly. But I mean, at the end of the day, just like, I don't find no interest in it, and just like, why would I do something I'm not interested in? And this is the main thing as well, right? Like, why would you put yourself in a situation where you don't want to do something? And let's be honest here. I'm talking to you. Let's be honest. There'd probably be situations where you're just doing it just to do it, but do you really love doing it? Let's be honest with yourself. Like, are you really liking what you're doing? Probably not. It's the same thing as like, I'll reverse back to my corp career. Did I really love what I did? And I hate to say it, I didn't find out until COVID happened. And I was working for 14, 15 years at a corp job. I was working at Walmart e-commerce for their technology company. And I always had this mentality, it's like, I'm just gonna work just to work. Like, yeah, we'll just work because I can get all this stuff. And it's crazy as a situation like that, like a situation that affected the whole world, COVID, where we ended up going from in office to working from home, where that dynamic changed. And I'm just like, I hate this fucking job. Why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time? I should have thought about this earlier. And then it kind of ties into like, we're here in the Philippines as well. Just like, man, like when I actually lived here and I actually moved here to the Philippines, I realized like, I was like, fuck, I should have just moved here like 15 years ago. And that's one of the things like where you just like, you don't realize that, because I think especially in the United States where like, coming from me, and again, There are individuals like where, for example, they're coming from another country and they find opportunity in the United States and they're thriving. They're loving the stuff they have. That's great. But like for me, who's, born and raised in the United States, when you're in the situation where it's just like, pow, 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 you have to be fast. And then you get the opportunity to experience something and go somewhere else where it's much slower. The people you deal with, the people are around you, the things you have to do are a little bit slower. You start embracing that. And this is just like for me, where when I got settled, I realized a lot. Where it's just like, now, do I want to come back to the United States? Probably go on vacation. My long term's here in the Philippines. And I think it's because of the fact that I realized it's just like some of the things that you miss out on because things are too damn fast. Yes, technology wise, Philippines is not there at all. There's a lot of shit you learn from the Philippines where it's just like, holy shit, like you do it this way. Or it's like, oh my God, like this is how they drive over here. But like once you get over that piece, or once you ever go over, even most importantly, like the certain conditions in life where it's a little bit hot sometimes. And then also too, like your immunities to like the water itself can be a little bit challenging, but after a year, you'll be perfectly fine. Now we're okay. Going back to the pickleball thing, right? It's just like, man, I never found the interest. As much as my brother tried to tell me like, yeah, you should try this out. You might love this and this might be the best thing ever in your life that you go on. I didn't. So now transitioning over to this is kind of what I've been doing lately. Before 2024, and I'm going to preface too, before I even go out to the Philippines, there was a point in me, before I was in the Philippines, I was an individual who was working out hard. I was literally working out 6 to 7 days a week. If you don't know what this is, maybe you probably do if you're in the United States. I was doing Orange Theory Fitness. Oh my gosh, Orange Theory Fitness is freaking amazing. Or it's just like, it's a type of workout where yes, they have their own scientific way of understanding, okay, how you can burn weight faster, how active you can be, and how optimized your workouts are going to be. It's all based upon like a transponder that you wear on your wrist or on your shoulder, somewhere on your arm. And then based upon what levels you're going to be optimized at the running, it'll tell you based on what your transponder is saying, because there's throughout the studio, there's TVs that show how you're doing. But I think most importantly is just like, I was doing that, and like those workouts basically included a 1 hour class. That class had like for cardio was either rower and treadmill, and then the other half of it was like strength and plyometrics. So there was weights on the ground, but body weight training, etc. So I was doing that for almost like a year and a half, and I was like the most fittest I was in life. Like seriously, like I've told stories. Like I may have not told so much here on YouTube, but I think on TikTok I've said like if you look at my post, I was a very heavy set guy back 20 years ago. So that's a big achievement. Like I remember like when I first started Orange Theory Fitness, I was like a stocky build. I was like size 38 in pants, but like through dedication and like, especially too, what's important too, even though I'm gonna tell you, be honest with you, if you're working out, you have to make sure you're eating right, because if you're not eating right, then your workouts are gonna go to waste. Like it's gonna be like the situation where you're treading water to keep afloat, but you can't because the seas are getting super duper crazy. So you have to think about your food as well. But this is when I was like at the high times of me making sure I was eating right. I was doing intermittent fasting and keto at the same time, and I was working 6-7 days a week. And then people are like, "How the fuck do you work 6-7 days a week?" On like the days I wasn't in the gyms, I was walking. So those are what you call quote unquote active recovery days. So I was just walking, but I would walk almost like 5-10 miles, and like in the Philippines that's like 10 kilometers. I used to do that. And then also too, what would also be helpful because of the comfortability of the things of access in the United States, I would go to like these wellness centers that will focus on healing, I guess you can say. There was like a nearby place I would go where they have like those bags that you can put on your legs so that it can regenerate your legs. So I would do that once a week, and they're like, oh my God, like coming from like turf, like super duper sore, and you're coming out there and like, oh man, you feel like you're brand new. So anyway, like I was doing that before the Philippines. I was like at my lowest, I was almost at like a size, between the size 34 and size 35, I guess you can say. So I was really fit. And then Philippines came. I still remember this day when I arrived in the Manila, where I was doing push-ups. Like I was still like in the fitness journey, and I was doing push-ups, making sure I was fit. Mind you too, like before I was going to Philippines, I was getting a little bit more weight because of the fact that I was busy doing too many things. We're working on rebuilding our house to get it sold, and just like some things happened. But besides the point, I was still fit. And then got to the Philippines. I tried to do my workouts, and it was difficult because of the fact where we first lived, we were deep in the province. So we're away from the city, or at least for an hour and a half for where we live now. So resources as in like what you can eat, or is there a gym that you can actually use? We didn't have that. And also to the food availability. Oh my God, if you live in the Philippines and like everything tastes awesome, like everything that involves carbs tastes great. And that's what happened. Just like life, like priorities a little bit changed. And this is where also too, like I was going through the position of just like finding myself through my podcast and also on TikTok. Like the thing I was doing hardcore in the United States, it kind of went to the wayside. I mean, I was still doing like intermittent fasting. So I was still doing intermittent fasting. So right now I do intermittent fasting from like 12 p.m. to like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. So I do at least 16-8. Sometimes I can go 24. So 20-hour fast, 4-hour eating block. Depends. But like, yeah, I gained a lot of weight. And it was a situation where just like it looked like at the point, and I told people recently, I was like, I feel like I was a rooster. Your legs are super small, but you're like your belly's big. And it was wild. I even tried like to work like where I was in the province. Cool and all, but it's just like the drive, like the stuff, the ability, the way to eat wasn't there. So that was the hard part. Like even natural tasting food, I'm telling you, I kid you not. If you're from the United States, you have to agree with me. If you go to another country, like for example, the Philippines, and you taste the food, oh my God, it's miles away difference. Because like, I'll be honest, in like United States, they put the wildest shit in their food. The preservatives they put in to make it look bigger, look nice, and look beautiful. Versus like in the Philippines, like it's more likely gonna be a little more fresh. And this is like the freshness of the food. And I kid you not, like I feel comfortable eating McDonald's and KFC here in the Philippines than what I would do in the United States. I would never touch KFC or McDonald's in the United States because it gives me, oh my God, like it will give me, I don't know about you, but it gives me weird stomach aches. Here in the Philippines, the quality food's different, even for fast food. Like I feel more comfortable eating fast food here. Now, okay, let's talk about where we're getting to. So recently, I've always been trying to find, because now I live in the city. I live in Tagbilaran, specifically I live in Panglao Island, where it's all the touristy stuff. So for the most part, we have the facilities to do stuff. Now there's abundance of places you can go where if you want to get a salad, you can get a salad. You can go to places in which it's going to accommodate your health and wellness, if you know what I mean. So like since then, I've always been trying to find a gym, like just trying to find a place to work out, and it's just like it's been a challenge. I kid you not, there is a place that is down the street from me. It is a gym. It looked nice. To be honest, it looked nice on Facebook, but it was one of the things when I actually went there. I was just like, oh my God, this is how big it is. The size is super small, but I kid you not, the magic you can do on camera to show like, oh wow, this is a big facility. And it's interesting too. It's one of those places like they on Facebook, and then like you see stories of like the people working out there. They're all super ripped and they're doing their social media workouts, and you know what I mean? Like they're flexing hard and all this. And I actually went there, and it's a trial level, and I was like, man, this is hella small. What happens if it's so busy? It's gonna suck. Your experience of working out sucks. And mind you, my previous workouts were kind of like like you have a variety of stuff given the size of like where your room is a little bit big enough where you can do things. Like just my history of like what I want to work on is like, I'm more interested in doing HIIT, or the new phenomenon which is called Hydrox. Like doing bodyweight workouts, like one of my favorite exercises, I kid you not. And it's funny because like with my circle of friends, like I try to challenge them to do that shit too, or the burpees. Like even my friend Maisa girl, like this is like a challenge. Like I have her, just like we were talking about earlier. We're just like, okay, you can do 10 burpees, and she's, just be honest, she's fit. She's way more fit than I am. 10 burpees is easy. And then she was just, I'm like, I can't do it, struggle. Like, oh my God, you can probably do 20. But anyway, the point of what I'm saying is like, yeah, your surroundings where you want to work out, like it's not going to motivate you if it's so super small and it's super packed. And that's the same thing too with my brother. My brother's been one that's been asking me, it's like, hey, let's go find a gym we can work out together. And I always ask the question to him, okay, great, you get to go to the gym. What are you going to work out on? And then there goes a pause. We're just like, okay, well, I don't know. And that's just like, I think kind of the overthinking. Like I think 5-10 steps ahead. I was like, okay, well, if I go to this gym, what can I really do? And it wasn't until we actually went to a place, it's like 10 more minutes longer to get there. But wow, the facilities of what they had, it was literally laid out in which, and it's owned by a British guy. And I walk in there and I'm just like, oh my God, this is like, it's like a CrossFit. I think how we found the story how I got there is because like my brother saw on a Facebook ad. My brother's like, oh my God, we should check this out. It's nice. It has a pool and it has all this stuff and all these units, and you can do this and that. Me and my brother went around and I was like, holy, this is like, it's one of those moments where you're just like, holy shit. And you start thinking about like, okay, I can do stuff here. All right, this might work. Like it's one of the things like I fell in love with it. And then like tying into what I learned before, like, for example, like the difference between me and my brother is just he probably needed instruction from some telling him like, okay, you should do this, versus for me, based on my previous experience of what I've done and what I feel is effective exercise, I'll be honest, as much as I fucking hate the exercise, burpees is like the best exercise ever. Even how huge I am, even though my technique, it looks really bad right now, I'm still gonna do burpees. So going back to this place I went to, I was like, oh man, they had a full layout of like artificial turf. So I think it's about 50 yards, about more or less. So like here in the Philippines, as in like the different measurement, it's what, 15 meters, 12 to 15 meters long. And then they have a squat rack. They have like basically dumbbells, kettlebells. They have the weighted bags. They have medicine balls. They have a sled. And they also have battle ropes. So I got to implement that. That's where I fell in love with it. I was like, holy shit. And then mind you, they have a pool and they have a place like they have a bar where you can get food. So like what this place is termed as here in Long Island, it's a fitness resort. So like people actually go there. I mean, I think it sells like 1,000 pesos per night, and that's super cheap, but you get the amenities for it. But for me, going in there, and mind you, the cost per month for individuals who can't afford in the Philippines, I would understand that it's too expensive for you. But for me, there's more flexibility for me, I guess you can say. That's a bargain. For a monthly charge of 2,000 pesos for what you're getting, a swimming pool, you're getting a full access to a gym. There's a lot of outlets of what you can do there. So, and on top of that, the food you can get, and it's basically, even though my friends don't believe it, like the type of quality of food that you can get and eat is gonna match the workout. It's healthy food. So for the most part, like I fell in love with it. And then how did I figure this out? I asked my friend ChatGPT. What I basically did, I kid you fucking not, I took pictures of the squat rack. I took pictures of every single equipment that was there, even the boxes they had. And I told ChatGPT, here's my intention. I want to do this. I want Hydrox, and bam. Here's a workout you can do from end to end. And since then, shit, I have a full exercise workout that I follow. I mean, if you want to follow me, if you're awake, you should follow me and look at it in TikTok because I do it live. But I mean, for the most part, just like I came to a position where it's like I fell in love with it. And it's just I have this workout I'm doing. Yes. The thing with working out, for example, if you haven't done it for a while, it's going to be freaking challenging. It's going to be sore, of course. Once you get over the sore, then you're perfectly fine. But man, I fell in love with it. One of my friends has mentioned, for the short time they known me, she made a comment where just like, wow, when you get into something, you get super focused. And I'm like, yeah, I do. So like for the past 2.5 weeks now, I've been working out. I work out slow grind to where I'm going back to the workout of like just like at least getting 5 days a week. So I always pace myself where I feel like, okay, if I'm doing too much, then I need to slow my ass down, which I do. And this is where like I ask ChatGPT, okay, this is what's happening. I feel a little sore. Let me just change it up. And then I get solutions. That's the thing about ChatGPT. If you're not using ChatGPT and you're talking to it like as a friend, you're missing out a lot. It's amazing that for my sense, ChatGPT is like kind of like a fitness coach where he's telling me, okay, do this. Here's examples what you can do. And just like how far I'm going with it. Also too, the byproduct of this is just like eating right. I'm so grateful with like meeting the owner and he has the layout for food. We're just like, okay, well, we cook it this way. This is specific to this. Even I asked him the first time when I was working out there, he's like, okay, well, I see what you're doing. You should get this protein bowl because you worked out hard. And I was like, yeah, I did. And then since then, it's just like what usually happens that I'll come there and work out for the past 2.5 weeks. I would come there, work out like around 11:30 to 12 o'clock. And I'm literally not done until maybe like almost near 3 o'clock because I work out for an hour and a half going through my program that ChatGPT is giving me. And then basically from there, I will eat and that's another thing. I'm fasting when I'm eating. I don't eat until after. So like basically I'm burning in negative until I actually go over there. So like basically get it from 1 o'clock and then I'm done by like almost near 3. So that's what's been keeping me busy right now. It's just like finding that internal fire that got me super fit before. And it's amazing too. It's just like, once you find, that's the thing about me. Once I get into a situation where I'm like just so attuned to something where I love it and I'm getting disciplined, like I put myself into it. It's the same thing I was talking about friendships where it's just like, if I gain your trust, then I love hard. I friendship hard where it comes to the situation where you're going to see me go in the bat for you. And that's the same thing with like my life. Like for example, like if there's something of interest I want to do, I'll go 100% or I don't do nothing. It's the same thing as this podcast. Like I will go into my podcast and talk and say like where I feel and whatnot, or don't say anything at all. So that's what I've been dealing with. Just like I've been doing that, just trying, just there's a lot of things that been keeping me busy, and especially to the workout stuff now. And I think also too, just like I always say to myself, or just like I don't want to put a podcast there where just like I don't have the feeling or drive to do it. And sometimes I have to push myself to just like, okay, you've been taking too much time. Funny too, because I looked the last time I did a podcast and I'm just like, holy shit, it's been this long. And this was where, okay, let me put my foot down, let's do this. And then originally I was gonna go podcast yesterday, but like my friend wanted me to help them in TikTok, so I was like, okay, why not? And it actually helps me as well. So like it's one of the things is it's a relationship we have. It's just like, okay, I'm helping her, but in the same way helping myself grow as well, if you know what I mean. Like, and I always tell her, I owed it to her, it's like, thank you so much for that. And she's like, oh, that's small things. Like your relationship is more important, your friendship is more important. And I was like, aw. But anyways, that's what I've been doing. And then also too, we bought another scooter. And then right now my brother started working on the second condo that we do have. As an availability, it's probably not going to be for like another month or two. So he's busy and I'm doing my stuff too as well. Like it's crazy how life has been. And the same thing too is just like it's still scary when you get into fear because you don't know what to expect, right? You don't know what to expect. Some things can go the right way, some things can go the wrong way, but yet again, those wrong ways can probably treat you to redivert you to go to somewhere else. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing. I tell you, when I get to something, I 100% in. So not only am I just working out, that means food. The food intake is very important to me because what's the point of working out if you're not going 100% with your food? And people say that all the time. We're just 80% of it is what you eat, what you put in your body. So you can do all the burpees you want, but if you're eating McDonald's all day or you're eating the most healthiest processed food ever, you're basically going 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. And you're always on the hamster wheel where it's just like you're not going anywhere because it's what you're doing. So anyway, transitioning to what I wanted to talk about. And this is where like it's the most important thing where just like sometimes it will stall someone's growth or sometimes it'll make some people not go for their full potential, and it's fear. Now let's be honest here, like with fear can look at different ways. Like fear can be something in which like it's instilled fear. Like for example, the things that you see around you in which things are happening, well, let's be honest right now. The things that are happening in the world right now without describing what they are. We all know what's happening right now, especially if you drive a car or you use things with gas. You see what's happening here, especially in the Philippines. It's crazy. I think we're paying for gas like double the amount, triple the amount we paid now before I got here. But it's just like, it's one of the things is like the instilled fear, or people, you see the news where it's just like, oh my God, this is happening now, you got to be careful. Or just like, oh my God, like this and that. Like, or even the situation where I'm going to talk in the perspective where I want to talk about, or someone who's trying to go for something, but however, people, places, events that they feel is controlling them, is telling them not to do it. Or sometimes when those situations do come, where it's a situation where like things are telling them, no, you can't do this. I don't believe you should do that, bitch. You're going to lose my friendship. Or I can't believe you're going to do this and you're going to look crazy. And then people realize it because of like, the dynamic of like, okay, I don't want to lose this friendship, or I don't want to feel like I'm an asshole. I don't want to feel like this. I'm going to stay and agree with them. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'll be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to float on and just be comfortable all your life and not worry about that and just live the way you live, or you're happy with exactly everything that's happened to your moment. Like I would say, I had friends where they're in the mode where they're just happy just growing a family and just doing the same thing, even if their job is the most mundane shit ever, where they literally don't have to work every day because no one has no idea what they're doing, but it's boring as fuck. But they just say, okay, well, I'm still doing it and I get paid a lot. I mean, if you're comfortable doing that, just shit, to each his own. Now, that could be like using that situation. That could be something where it's just like, the fear induced stuff happened where it's just like, it made him think about like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that because I've heard many stories about, for example, if I don't save my money from retirement, I'm going to be in a situation where we're on the street. Like in the United States, that happens a lot. If you look at, for example, this is the thing, like especially in the Philippines, like I had a conversation with the owner of that fitness resort talking about San Francisco. Like, most people here in the Philippines see San Francisco as the best glamorous stuff. However, they don't see the turmoil that's on the streets. And what I mean by turmoil is the homelessness, the people that feel without seeing what they have to do, like they are inducing themselves with stuff. And you see them like the after effects, what they're doing on the street. Like you don't see all that stuff. And it's just like, it's wild. We're just, people like see the rosy things and just, I look back and just like, thinking about like, okay, wow, like how grateful I have stuff over here. And sometimes like people get induced to the point where like there's so much fear in their life where they feel like there's no more way out. And that's pretty apparent where like in the United States, where if something happens to you where it could be very like financially breaking for you, it can be a matter of like, okay, well, you used to live here and now you're on the street because you can't afford it. And then one thing leads to another, where like the what you call it, the your fear just takes everything over, where you feel like I need a release of this and I have to do this so that I cannot be myself and deal with the fear. And that's terrible. Just talking in that perspective of just like where the people who get stuck there. And then, I know, to each his own, people may think otherwise of what I'm talking about, but in the Philippines is different because I think they're more resourceful to figure out how they could do it. And I see it's amazing where that small amounts of money, they're able to make the most meaningful shit out of it. United States, it's not that. And it's just like, people will go to the world of despair because of the fear that's been driving them. And it's just like, and then certain things been riding with them where they get to a point where it's just like, there's no more release. Stuck in this conundrum, we're just like, okay, well, if I can't improve, then might as well just try to make myself disappear. You know what I mean? Disappear as in reality. And then you see it on the streets, it's like, holy shit, this is happening now. And I've always been a person, an individual, without talking about politics and whatnot, just like I question myself, like, why aren't we doing something about this? Why is this a situation we just wipe it under the rug? Even like as humans, right? Like it's crazy and wild sometimes in my mind. This is like, again, for an individual, like there's a reason why I don't watch news. I don't. Regardless of what's going on in the world, yes. I look in a perspective that I can't control that. So why even put my attention to it when I have my own intentions I want to be as my purpose, and why that weighs so much heavier than the stuff that's going on right now. And especially too, like, when you're trying to be at a level of authenticity, like you try to avoid situations like that where you're trying to feed in stuff like that, because the fact that can affect a lot of stuff of you. You start thinking about situations of like worry or scare or fear. I wish sometimes individuals would like just realize like there's so much potential with themselves. Even the talk in the perspective of people who are on the street and they're going to the lowest of the lows of lowest. And I remember talking to my brother about this, just like, why don't they do something about it? It's like some people just realize that, and it's like those people, some people just realize that there's no way out. But even that circumstance, I want to talk about a little bit because I know this is super sensitive, right? And some people may feel like, but Joe, you never experienced that. So like, why even talk about it? So this is why I'm just touch it a little bit, and I'll go more to what I'm talking about, fear. But I always believe that people can always get on their circumstances. 100%. It is asinine to me to believe if you say to yourself that I am this way because it's this way. I'm this way because I have to be this way. This is why I was born to be. Can't change this. Who blah blah. I'll be honest with you, that's some bullshit. I mean, yes, for people who are going through a lot of problems in the street, yes, it can be super duper difficult because they're probably in a dimension of themselves where it's just like it's hard to get out. But maybe crossing my fingers, those individuals will wake up one day and it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to empower myself to do it. And this is the main thing I'm talking about, just empowering yourself to get over the fear and make a better version of yourself to the point where you realize it's just like, yeah, there's something more important than, and that thing that's important is myself. Like there's stories of people who have been going through homelessness and they just realize and wake up that this is not them anymore. They don't want to think about it. And they realize like, oh wow, there's people that actually care for me. So I'm going to do my damnedest to get out of this. And that's my pure best example of that, of getting out of your fear. You see those videos where it's just like, yeah, I used to be this. I used to be heavily on drugs and look at me now. And you see a totally 100% different individual at the end of the day. And this is why I tell you, like, yeah, fear can push you down so far down that you don't even recognize yourself. But until you get to the point in which you realize that you yourself can get out of it, it's so much of a mind-opening thing when you realize that you actually are empowering yourself to get out of it. Like the same thing as the people who tell me like I'm introverted and this is who I am, how I feel. I'm like, I think in my mind I've been thinking about that, just like you can change being introverted. Boggles my mind sometimes where people get so stuck, just like I can't change myself because this thing's happening or this thing's happening or this and that's happening. This is where like sometimes when I friend hard and I meet these people, and I tell you the story all the time. Like for some reason, I always meet people who like are going through challenges or they need somehow some upliftment from me, and I always feel like I'm in the position to help uplift them. When you try so much and you love hard, you realize that it's not even worth it anymore, and just like you just completely stop. And then it's funny too because of the fact of just like those same individuals who say like I'm this and that, I can't change, and then like you always been in your position where you're telling them, no, you can change. This is what you are. This is your purpose and why. I believe in you. Just do it. What's holding you back? And then that book closes, and then you find out that maybe that person realizes, damn, that guy was right. I should believe in myself more. I'm not introverted. I need to get myself out of this box of fear and just say, I can be this individual that person believed me I was. So like going back to, like, it's talking about the fear itself. It's just like what I want to get at. It's more of what will dictate a person's like future. It's like the example of The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, where Morpheus was saying, you can take this pill and you go back to the Matrix, nothing happens. Or you can take this pill, and you see how far this rabbit hole goes, where like the possibilities are endless. You have to deal with fear. However, your possibilities are going to be amazing. Or you just go back and get assimilated back into the Matrix and just nothing happens. And this is where sometimes I feel that there's individuals where like they go like, okay, I really want to do this. Believe me, I do. I want to do this. I feel like I'm a great orator. I'm a great singer, or I have a huge purpose to do something amazing. And then all of a sudden, when they're so excited to do it, they're successful at it. And then it takes one individual to drop fear in them to say, you shouldn't be doing this. Or even, I guess you can say it's a little bit of fear. It's just like, you can't do this because it's not going to sustain a living for all of us. You need to stop doing something where it's not going to help us put food on the table. You have more things to worry about than your hobby. Let's be honest here. You've probably heard this many times where just people say, yeah, there's something amazing that you want to do, but then all of a sudden someone just shoots you down. Just like, you should stop doing that. Like for my sense, when I was younger, when I believed in the law of attraction, this is when I learned about law of attraction, where you can't preach it on somebody. Sometimes people won't understand. And I've realized at this point, not a lot of people understand it, and it's to each his own and what they want to believe in and whatnot. But I've been said that situation where it's like, it's like people telling me like, man, people think you're delusional. Stop. So why you believe in that stuff? None of that shit's true. And then here goes that fear, just like, oh, he's right. Go back and get assimilated back in the Matrix. And it's just like, it's one of the things where at this point in my life, and I always believe right now that I am who I say I am. I am authentic. I am genuine. I'm continuing to move towards what I want to do as my purpose and why I'm built. Mind you, I am a human just like you. I go through the same shit of worry of just like, okay, how's this going to look like tomorrow? With like my lessons learned of stuff I've done while in the Philippines. Let's be honest here. There's things I've done where it's just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm learning from it. And it may be affecting one thing or another, but it's what it is. It's a learning experience, because it's like you have to learn certain things to think about why you do what you do. As much as I'm always forthcoming and I believe what I'm going to do, and I know that I'm going to get there, and I'm authentic where I believe like I don't give a fuck if you don't like what I do. I'm going to keep on going with my stuff. Regardless, yes, a human like you. I go through the same battles every day. Thank goodness I meditate, because like, holy shit, I don't know where I'm going to be at this point where I didn't meditate. That would probably be a basket case where it's just like, oh my gosh, like a ball of fire doesn't know how to handle it. And I'm always thankful for like finding avenues like that, or finding people who believe in the same stuff, because just they will keep you going, or this will keep you consistent. And this is why I do it every day. Where just like I do the meditation every day, and I even share it. Believe it or not, I go on TikTok and I share it. And maybe some people may need it. Maybe most people will be like, what the heck is Joe playing? Like, why is he playing bells all day? Or here, letting this person saying thing, and you see his eyes closed. And people don't understand, and to each his own. But like, what I mean by that is just like, fear can do many things for you. Like, fear can be the deciding thing in which you want to be comfortable or not. And for me at this point in my life, right, I'd rather engage with fear. I'd rather go into the unknown. I'd rather be in a position where I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. I don't know how any of this is gonna work, but please believe, I know I'm gonna get somewhere with it. I have the belief that I know I will get to that point. And this is the example I always put in a situation where people mess out. And let me phrase it this way. I'm a pure believer in the law of attraction. And most parts, letting it go to the universe and like put it out there. Yes, there's stuff you need to do, of course. Being comfortable in terms of law of attraction, probably going to be the best thing you can do. If you are so uptight and you're living in fear to believe that you can't do anything that you've been doing for the rest of your life, and you can't change it because of the fear, you're never going to get what you want to get. And then again, I'm going to say, to each his own. There's plenty of people I know that they're perfectly fine what they want to do and keep on doing what you're doing. There's no big deal about that. But for you're a person who is looking to grow, or you're looking for a purpose and why, and you're looking for like, what's the meaning of your life? Most of the times, if not, you'll find it outside of fear. And sometimes it's this fear I feel is institutionalized, where just like, even when you grow up, like, and it's again, to each his own, like your parents, for example, will instill this fear with you because of the fact they want you to succeed, of course. So they may say the most weirdest stuff like, oh, you better do this, you better get a job, better graduate, because if you don't graduate, you don't get a job. or they decide things are like, oh yeah, like, you better make sure you do this because you're gonna be behind your friends or you're be behind your relatives and this and that. And then putting this mold of fear, just like, oh, I gotta be good. I have to go to a 4-year college. I have to do this. I have to make sure I make my parents happy and be inside of comfortability. And that's perfectly fine. When you're younger, it's perfectly fine because it's guiding, your parents will do that because of the fact they want to make sure you're safe. Or sometimes, like, given my parents who were immigrants in the United States, where they went from the Philippines to the United States to make a better living. And that's what I'm saying. There's individuals who will come from the Philippines, and I see it all the time, where like they want to become a nurse and they probably love the job, but honestly, the amount they get paid for being a nurse in the Philippines doesn't really make them a lot. But they can go to like the United States, for example, and make 100 times more. And it comes to like, oh my gosh, and they come to the realization when you make so much money like that, we're just like, holy shit, I can afford this, I can afford this, I can do this. I can never do this in the Philippines. Now I can do it whatever I want here. And this was just another inverse way of saying like getting over the fear. People who are just stuck in the ways they've been living because they're just saying like, oh, it feels better here. If you go over there or you do this, you don't know anybody, you don't know this. But some people are just like, no, I'm gonna do this. And then finding their own way, we're just like, holy crap, this is probably the best thing, the best experience. I can do this. Like, I have cousins where they came from the Philippines and then they're living the best life now. The wife is a nurse and he's a nurse prac, and they have the expensive cars. They go travels everywhere. They went to Antarctica and stuff like that and living the best life. But it didn't start until getting over the fear. Immigrating to the United States from the Philippines, knowing the unknown of like what could potentially be. And they did. And that's like the same thing as like for anything, for what I'm trying to get at. Like, honestly, you're never going to know what is out there for you if you don't go through the fear. Most people don't do anything because of the fact of like, it's too scary or just like too much. If I ever related to, for example, my friend, Lisa girl, ghost hunter, a lot of people give her hate because they don't fucking understand. They don't understand like the experience to show them that they exist. And people always will bash her like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't believe in this stuff. Because like, it's the fear of like, okay, well, it's scary. And also too, just like, why are you putting yourself at risk? But like for her, like she's getting out of her comfort zone. She's getting out of the fear to show people. And I see that as a friend and as a moderator and the other people think, I see what she has to deal with in the end of it. And me as a friend, I always say like every time when I see something's physically affecting her. So if you believe it or not, well, in order to talk to spirits, sometimes they go, they take your energy. And I can tell something like that happens when she's like, oh, I have a headache. Oh, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm gonna fall down. And I take that perspective. That's why I always see like, she always has panels up where the first thing I ask when she brings me up, I was like, are you okay? She's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm good. Because I know that. I can sense it. Like I can say like if something's going wrong, like she's not 100% because like she's getting affected by it. So that we don't derail what we're talking about. Just like, her getting out of the comfort zone of fear. Like her deciding to, and I asked her like, how do you even get to this point? Like, how did you even decide to do ghost hunt? And she's like, oh, one of my people, and like, it's like, she was doing something totally different on TikTok before. And then I guess someone just suggested in her chat, like, why don't you do ghost hunts? And then she's like, fine, let's do it. And then one thing led to another, and look at how big she is. If you take back if that deciding line where someone told her you should do a ghost hunt, and she's like, oh, I'm not doing that shit. What would she be at this point? Until now, she's like, okay, let's do it. Game on. And look at now, she's getting all these experiences and like has a huge following, and people like, I'm thank goodness now, like a lot of wonderful stuff. Like I talked to her today, just like all the wonderful stuff she never expected to happen before is happening right now. And I think it's because of the growth of her. This is her journey where like everything's finally coming full circle with it. Maybe it just needed the right people to come in, into her life to say, here we go. This is how valuable you are. This is your time of gratitude to show you like, this is why you keep on going with stuff. Even though there's plenty of people who are going to push you down and say like, no, stop doing what you're doing. You should stop doing it. You should go home. You're in danger of your life. Or in her itself, like even like for me, like as a moderator, as I care of her wellness, and I'm just like, I tell her like, yeah, you can do whatever you are because I know you know your limits. But like at the end of the day, like going back to what I'm saying, which is like, she's the best example of getting out of your fear. And look how far she's gone. She's fucking successful. As much as she's modest to say like, no, I'm not. No, you are. And it's the same thing as like the potential of her as herself when she goes somewhere else, whether it's through YouTube or another option she mentioned to me and some other people. Wow, you have so much potential for yourself to even get bigger. Again, that's an example. Now, like even for me, if I never made the decision to follow what my parents are, to follow the purpose of bringing my parents here, I would never figure out what this is. I would have been still in the rat race in the United States. In the perspective of working a corp job, would I have been happy? Probably not. I remember I was in a point where like to make sure I get happy, like work to work mentality, where just like I would just buy all the nice cars I had. Now the thing is, like, I used to drive almost 2 hours one way in traffic. So a total of 4 hours total of commute time every Monday to Friday. So like, what did I do to make myself happy? Buy different cars, buy these nice cars. I'm putting so much stress into them where I have to change them every 2 years. And that was the thing. I felt like those materialistic things will make you happy until you realize like fuck, this is not what I want to do anymore. So like that calling, and I always believe that, for example, the universe will provide you, like, you've been thinking about this for a while. So here's an option how you can get there. We're going to open up certain things. Now, so it's just going to allow you to make that decision. Do you want to do this? So like I told you before, like the universe was like, hey, I have this right here. What do you think? Yes, maybe. I think I was guided to get to this point. I was guided to move to the Philippines, but if I never listened to it and I just kept on grinding and maybe finding a job, when I was unemployed, I was at the worst trying to find a job. If I just kept on going, I'd probably find something. And if I completely ignored like my parents saying I want to go back to the Philippines and I focused on that, I probably had another job and never knew nothing about this. Like even the situations I have my mom, I mentioned it many times. The span of 2021 to 2023, 4 of the brothers passed away. And then that takes an emotional toll on my mom, where she's telling me like, I really want to be in the Philippines now because like the person I'm close with is my sister who's older than me, in their mid 80s. That's one thing, and we just listened to it, and it's just like, I've always been a firm believer in the sense where just like the universe will align you to certain things. It will align you to what your path is, and it's really up to you to decide. Will you pick up on it? Do you want to go forward or not? And I'm glad I took it. I am fucking glad I took that position and role where just like, I went out of that comfort zone. I went out of that fear to do it. Granted, I had a lot of friends, but most times, if not, and that was probably the most challenging thing ever, where like going from a country where you had a good amount of friends, like maybe a handful of them, like a handful, like 5 probably, who you can really trust, but like there's a group outside of that where you constantly hang out with them all the time. They're a group, like your family, right? And they're making decisions like, I'm gonna go in the Philippines and start from nothing, and you're in your 40s making this decision like, okay, let's go to a country that it's not like the United States where everything's a convenience, where like you can go in the United States, you can go down the street within 5 minutes and go to a supermarket and get all the stuff you need, or go to a mall, or have facilities on the internet where you can get something within an hour. In the Philippines, nope. Even like the closest to Amazon is the places here. Like you'll probably be, for the most part, I don't know, it'll probably be 1 or 2 weeks to get the stuff. And it's all coming from Manila. Those type of adjustments were just like, holy shit. Like, I mean, the convenience part. If I never made the decision and get out of the fear of just like what to expect, like I want to be here. I remember before I even got here in the Philippines, I was worried too much of like, okay, dude, I had to buy all this stuff from like, this like Costco, all the big box stores. They buy all this. I need to buy all this deodorant. I don't know what they have. Where do I have like, where do I get food? Where do I do this? And like all that stuff ran in my head. While that was happening, came to the Philippines, I actually ended up here. I mean, there's adjustments. Let's be honest. Like I said, there's always been a huge fucking adjustments to living in the Philippines. Like, one, the heat. Oh my God, we came back in 2024. We went like, I think during a heat wave where it was super duper hot. Tie in too, like, we weren't adjusted at all to the heat. So it takes time to adjust, right, to the weather you're at. So we were back in the province house. We had our ACs running at full max capacity, and then I was telling you before, like the availability of food, as in selections, right? In the Philippines, everything's all fresh, but like as in the terminology, understanding, like, okay, what's healthy or not? Like, what's a salad? Like when you're deep in the province, they probably don't have a lot of salads. So that's where the challenge of, for example, finding things that will help you benefit your well-being, probably not. So I am grateful where I'm at right now. And if I never did that, if I never took the realization to listen to what the universe is telling me, is like, this is time for you to go to the Philippines, serve your purpose, and bring your parents home. And then, by the way, you have another purpose, which is your podcasting, your content creation, especially your podcast stuff. Dude, I would have never met all the people. I always bring up my Esau girl because she's like, I have such a genuine relationship with her. I feel it's genuine. Always have to overthinking here again, and she always catches me. She's like, you're fucking overthinking, stop. And I was just like, I would never found that. I'll never had a relationship with her. Even the person who got me to the point of podcasting, I see there's attempts that she's trying to come back in, but like I tell you 100-0. But for the most part, I would have met that person. I would have never gone to this point where I'm at right now, where it came to the full realization of blessings of, damn, you can talk for 24 hours and keep on going, which we're doing right now, literally. So I would never found that out. And then that's the thing too, if you believe in the law of attraction and manifestation for the most part, right? Like leaving and surrendering to the universe to find the solutions and answers. You don't need to fucking know how you do it. Just fucking do it. I mean, like, you don't need how to do it. It will come up to you. It will arrive. Yes, there's some work that you need to do at the end of the day. There's some work you need to do. But for the most part, like, it's so rewarding when you got the fear and the uncomfortability. Like, every day, I'll be honest, as an entrepreneur, it's scary as shit. Kinds of opportunities. But like, again, like when things happen and things hit the fan, those are the parts where moments where it's just like, holy shit, what do we do now? And then you figure it out. The same thing as my learning lessons. Like, okay, what do I do now? Okay, well, one, I have to do it this way, even though it may not be what I was thinking about using it for. Maybe what I have now is helping me to do this because there's something bigger for it. But like, again, I would never figure out any of this shit or had done any of this if, for example, I never made that move that was outside of fear. And this is why I tell people, like, to close your book and like your purpose and why. Just like, what are you gonna choose in your life? What is your decision in here? Like, are you fine being comfortable? If you're fine being comfortable, you don't want to change, then yeah, stay the way you are. There's no reason for you to go anywhere and change your thought, right? But what if there's something bigger for you? I hear it all the time where people are at the last moments of their life and they're so full of regret. And they're just like, man, I wish I did this. I wish I did this. I wish I should have done this. Or like they're almost at the old age where they can't do certain things they thought they can do, but they probably can still do it, but it'd be kind of late. But like they realize it was just like, oh man, I wish I did this. And then what I try to get at is just, man, I don't want to be an individual who's have regrets. And it's just like, imagine if you did that, we're just like be full of regrets and just like you haven't accomplished anything. And you come back and you come and realize it's just like, man, if I wasn't so fucking scared and full of fear, I could have done something with it. Like even the people and individuals like you think are super duper upper echelons, YouTube dynamos, I guess you can say, they have millions of viewers and followings and subscriptions. They all started the same thing as us. I mean, I'm talking about us, like me. I'm a small content creator here on YouTube and on TikTok and other places, but like they started from the beginning and they kept on going. They probably had a lot of friends. I mean, there's one content creator I follow, like one of his friends says, what are you doing? Because I think he was studying to become a nurse and he's starting to get into like content creation. And then his friend or relative was saying, why are you doing this? Stop doing this shit. You need to focus on getting a job. You need to focus on becoming a nurse because you're not going to go anywhere with your content creation. And you know what that guy did? He kept on going. He did. Honestly, he went through some shit he was dealing with. I was watching the journey he's been on, but like, he's fucking successful. And it's interesting too, because he made a comment in one of his videos, like, yeah, that same guy who told me I should stop this content creation game because it's unrealistic and I'm not going to go anywhere, fear. And now he supports and believes in me. I remember he told the story, like, wow, bro, like you did it. You're amazing. Like, I'm so envious of you. Like, you can do whatever you want now. And I'm doing this. And this is why I tell for people, this is not for selected few. This is also for you. The people who are touching this video and just trying to figure out, like, fuck, man. And people might look at me as like, oh, why am I going to believe someone like you? You have 2 chains, you live in nice comfortability. Like, I'm talking in terms of people watching the Philippines. Oh, I have this, but how can I believe in you? It's up to you to believe in me. But at the end of the day, like, what are you going to get yourself in this situation where you're like, are you going to address your fear or not? And if you're an individual, like, for example, me, arriving in the Philippines and getting to content creation, I tell the story before. My going away party, one of my friends mentioned to me, he's like, how much I bet, Joe, you're going to become a content creator? Because you're going to have a lot of downtime. I guess that person was right, because yes, I do, let's be honest, as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of downtime. This kind of all started because I was post content on my personal page. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, let me go try this out. Let me go do this content creation game. Like, I'll think about, okay, what's going to be viable here in the Philippines? TikTok. And then one of the amazing things with TikTok is like, it's, if you compare it to what's in the United States, it's very community based. You know what I mean by that is like people actually have genuine relationships here. Hello, we actually did that because I've built relationships on TikTok. And there's some amazing ones too. So like making the decision to do content creation in TikTok and then meeting people here and there of like kind of sort of what you're trying to do. I think before, like, my content has changed so much to the point where just like it doesn't look like what I'm doing. If you look back to when I started, I think a year and a half ago, not a year and a half ago, was it? Yeah, more or less a year, like about a year and 6 months. I'm totally different, but I think I'm in the right path I'm at now, where it's just like I'm a podcaster, I'm a content creator. But all these people I met, if I didn't get out of my fear of just like, man, who's gonna listen to me or who's gonna follow me on my public page, I wouldn't have been at this point. I wouldn't have met any of my friends. I don't know. Yeah, I probably have met friends here in Bohol, but I mean, I think the actual people, I feel like, and I'll be honest with you, like the people who actually I believe in, who I've aligned with, like whether it's spiritually or through a certain mindset. I found them more present in social media and TikTok. I think it's possibly because like they're basically similar, whether they're believers, supporters of certain individuals, or in the sense where like they're content creators just like me. And that's where the craziest stuff of all this is just like, if I didn't get out my fears, if I just said, no, I can't do that. Because I remember like when I first started TikTok, I was a viewer. I think my way of ice breaking people back then, I was like play music. So I was just going random people's lives. I didn't have no vision until I met this one person. And then I paneled with her. And then somehow, some way, she inspired me to become this. We don't talk, and I see the attempts that the person's making, but we'll see what happens with that. But for the most part, just like, I met some amazing people on here. Even, I always talk about the most recent one. I always say, because I really feel like it's a genuine relationship. And I hope it is a genuine relationship. I feel like it is. Like, with her, I already said her name multiple times today, but like with Maisa girl, where it's just like, you know, how genuine she is and how much effort she puts into work. And then she's finally getting the fruits of her labor, where people are actually believing what she does. And me finally finding an individual. And this all started, I kid you not, like, it all started me with the belief and trusting her when she said, "You are my friend." And I was like, I paid more attention to her and see what she did, and I see how genuine, and I see that, and talk to the people around her. And I was like, yeah, this is who she is. And like, even like the smallest things, and like she's done for me, and what I've done for her. And even though like she tells me to stop doing certain things, I'm just like, I do it because I want to support her. But I think for the most part, like, I would never even reach that. And I always believe like the law of attraction. If I never took this position or this decision to do content creation and didn't listen to the law of attraction, then I would never do any of this. I don't know what the fuck I would be doing right now. But for the most part, I'm happy I listened to the universe and say, this is it, let's do it. And then all this stuff happened. I met all these people. Granted, yes, they're miles away from me or kilometers away from me where I have to take an airplane to go over them and visit them. But I mean, for the most part, just like, these are mostly genuine conversations I've had. I'm embracing it. I think it's like, in the sense, like, feel welcome. It kind of goes kind of full circle with me, which is like, you're going through your purpose and why, and it's something that you're doing, but you're also finding friends with it. And it's crazy when you believe in yourself so much and you're going beyond the fear of who you are, going the fear that people say you shouldn't be doing it or you should be doing this and that. And then you go break that fear and you realize, wow, this is what's all happening. This is it's all full circle. It's amazing. So this is why I tell folks, and I challenge you, like, if you're a person who believes in something so much and you believe that purpose and why, and people are telling you can't do it and you have a choice to make. Do you want to be comfortable or not? Do you want to deal with the fear or not? What are you going to do? I mean, you can make the decision where you can go this 3 feet pole. There's a lifeguard. You can wear the safety gear. You can jump to the 3 feet pole and nothing's going to happen, and it's fine. But if there's something that you really want, but it means that you have to go through this side where it's a 10,000 meters of water, and there's a lot of crazy stuff, as in like snakes, not snakes, yeah, snakes, I guess, sharks who look very hungry. What are you gonna pick in this situation? That it goes based upon like your purpose and why. What are you gonna do? I think for me, I think you probably get the vibe of what I would pick. I would go run towards the fear. And then this is where the thing happens, where just like people who don't really realize the fear, that they're sitting in the waiting at the 3 feet pole, and they see maybe a handful of people running towards a 10,000 meters of water. And then they see like everything's fine, but they're still scared. So like, given my situation where I run towards the fear, so I'm running to 1,000 feet of water, and to find out that water is not that bad. And mind you, you don't have anything, no life preserver. There's no lifeguard in 1,000 feet of water. But you decide to say, no, let's do this. Let's jump. Game, as my friend would say. So they jump in 1,000 feet of water, and they find out that it's not too bad. Actually, this water has some buoyancy. The predators, as in the snakes and the sharks, it's not as bad. They were just trying to make sure I was okay. And then all of a sudden you figure out, oh, this 1,000 feet of water, down on the wayside, there's an island, and it has everything you're looking for. And that's what I'm saying, where if your fear is holding you back to certain things and you don't go through it, you're never going to find out how far that rabbit hole is going to. Never will. You'll probably just be stuck in the matrix in the office chair, just doing the daily 9 to 5. And if that's fine with you, that's fine with you. But like, if you always had a dream or vision, it's just like, I can be this amazing orator, I can be this amazing podcaster, I can be amazing singer, and you don't even put your foot in the door to say, let's fucking do it and find out. And I'm not talking about like 1,000 foot of water, but obviously it's gonna be baby steps to get there, because there's gonna be probably a lot of obstacles to get there before you even get to 1,000 foot of pull. But once you look back and you realize, like, holy shit, the amount of fear I had, it was just it's instilled fear, and it was not as bad. And you realize like, wow, like it's actually okay over here. There's no qualms or issues over here where it's just like, okay, I really thought I was gonna not go through anything. And then you find out like the best thing that you ever wanted in your life was an instillment of fear. So that's why I tell you folks, it's just like, well, yeah, you come to a position where you're like at your purpose and why and like what you want to do and what you want to be. Like, as much as how crazy this world is right now, let's be honest now, it is kind of wild and crazy with the amount of things that are occurring in the world, and people are instilling fear left and right and saying, oh, this is what's going to happen. Like I see it with my dad. As much as I ask my dad's like, he's in his 80s, he's like 79. And I always ask him like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm not listening to that, blah, blah, blah. But I know he's in tune because he watches news every day about the circumstances of what's just happening in the world. I'm not trying to explain, again, if you have a TV and you have some way of what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But he has his eyes glued onto the TV screen to see like, okay, this is what's happening now and all this and that. And just so into like their mind is so thing, and then the fear installment comes in. And my dad's one of the things where just like he'll talk about like being the knowledge orator is like, this is what's happening, blah, oh, we're gonna go do this and this and that. And I take it some certain people like in the same way where they have this gift again, and then the bunch of friends around them is like, no, don't do that. Do you understand if you do that shit, you're gonna lose our friendship? Or do you want people to hate you because you're different? Do you want people to not be your friends anymore or not understand what the heck you are and just laugh at you? Do you want to feel that amount of bashing that you might get if you decide to keep on going what you believe in? And let's be honest here, it takes a lot of fucking courage to get past your fear. I give you an ode to yourself if you are just the few of us, like me, who have got through that fear and decided just to jump in. And again, I'm not going to say that life is perfect and life is this and that. I have my own calls. I already talk about my overthinking and whatnot, but just like for the most part, like I really feel like I'm on the best version of myself. I really firmly believe I am authentic and genuine. Would I have ever reached this point of the best version of myself if I was in the United States? If I never took the risk? I don't think so. I don't think I would really truly have found myself to be at the position I am right now, to find out who I really am. And if I listened to my fears, I would still be in the United States. And that's why I challenge you, all the folks who are watching this, and you again, I always point to you. There's reasons why you watch this or you come across this, whether it's through my shorts or you're actually watching this podcast. Maybe you're watching the edited one, because the edited one is probably gonna be better because of the fact of not no jumping, you know what I mean. You'll watch the edited version soon enough. But I think for the most part, just going through and processing that your fear is not so bad, that you actually decide to make the decision to get uncomfortable. For example, for me as an expat, yeah, I am an expat. Me as an expat going to a third world country, as people might say it. I don't think it's a third world country. It's just a different country, United States. The amount of comfortability that you're going to receive. And you see like, oh my gosh, the potential of what you can do. For me, come from the United States, come to the Philippines, there's so much opportunities that are open to us because we opened ourselves from that fear. And thank goodness, like my brother was so much full of fear, like the first 2 years where we were here. And that's where I think I always feel that feeling where like, because I'm so authentic and I really believe I do. And it's amazing because I had a recent conversation with someone who was that spiritual and talked about aura and stuff like that. And it's just like, I agreed what the person said. It's just like, my aura is huge. And I know it can affect people like positively, negatively, whatever they are. And I remember this point in time with my brother, he would just be so attacked by it, where he felt guilty for certain things because of just me doing nothing. It was just my energy was so huge. Just like I have to remind him, like I'm more of like the advisor at this point. We're just telling like, what are you doing now? What is our plan here? Why we haven't done anything? Because he's doing the planning and processing, and I'm just a guy supporting and giving the knowledge. And then kudos to him, he got his fear. And I think sometimes his fear got out of the way because he met people here. He met people who are comfortable to him. But yet again, they're helping him think of ideas to do. And this branched out to be more than an entrepreneur. I remember back then when my brother was struggling and trying to figure out himself, he would tell me like, I can't think 5 years. I have to think like in terms of 6 weeks. And as an entrepreneur, you got to think 5 years. What's your 5-year plan? What's 5, 10 years going to look like? What are you going to be like? What is your expectation of all this? I remember that wasn't there until you met the right people. That's his way of like the universe telling him, here's the people you need to connect, because you need people who are similar to what you were and you're bringing. For me, it's like the journey of just like, okay, it's getting comfortable, but you're going to be doing something where you're going to find your people. So that's where it's just like, I'm happy for my brother. He got his comfort zone now. Look at him. He's doing good. I have to remind him sometimes because like, it's funny because one of his friends said he has ADHD and I was like, damn, that's right. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think for the most part, it's just like, like I said again, so what are you going to do? Are you going to let fear run your life or make the decision to say, no, I need to figure out what's out there. I need to make a decision to see like, okay, how deep can this go? And I hope people who listen to this get some bit of resonance to realize like, holy shit, this guy was right. Why am I wasting my time spinning my wheels for nothing when I should be doing this? And it's actually not that bad as people say it's going to be. And that's what I say. It's just, you're never going to find out how far this rabbit hole is going to go if you don't face your fears or get uncomfortable. You're really not. Like even this situation right now where like I'm doing this podcast, I'm going in the camera right now, looking at this. This, for most people, I've gotten to a position where it's easier for me, but a lot of people can't do this. A lot of people cannot go on camera right now and talk and speak their mind because they're afraid of shit. Me, I'm not. I guess you could say I talk eloquently, where I don't have any fear of what people are going to say. Like people can believe and not believe what they want to believe. It's up to them. It doesn't matter. But I live through my truth. I live through my purpose because I know it's true to myself. How far we go, we'll find out how far we go. And whenever we hit that, we will hit that. I don't know how this is all going to work and put together, but please believe from this point forward and maybe from a year from now or 6 months from now, we're going to be totally fucking different. It's the same thing I say on my TikTok. It's just like watching me do shit. Same thing as like me working out. It's like watching me do it. See the biggest difference ever that you'll see out of this. So anyway, I hope that, at this point, it makes you think, is it really worth living in this fear or not? And I really hope that you take this perspective from my words and whatnot. Some people might disagree and just like, this is horseshit, Joe. Like, come on. But you know what? For the people that resonates with, I hope this wakes you up and just realize another one again. I hope this resonates to you and just says, yes, I'm going to finally do something before it's too late. And again, I'm not going to say anything's too late, but yet again, let's say, for example, you want to be a singer and you're like at 70 years old. You can still be a singer at 70 years old, but you still could have done better if you're 40, 45. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. It's okay to get out fear. Sometimes it's okay to get the uncomfortability of stuff. Sometimes most of your friends you have when you make the decision to go through fear are not going to be your friends anymore. It happens. Please believe I went through many of that. I went through many journeys, even on TikTok, finding like who are real friends and who are not real friends. And the purpose and why I align and associate with certain individuals and why I don't associate with any individuals anymore. Same thing as like the people like, again, I'm an observant individual where just like, I don't talk to everybody, but if I find there's some topic to talk about, then I'll talk. So I really hope that individuals who catch on to this, like at the end of the day, like you take something out of this. And this is again, if I really didn't give a shit of what I talked about and then wanted to do the viral shit, I would have done the viral shit, but no. This is important for me. I'm hoping that whoever finds this will say, wow, this guy lit a fire in my ass. Can't wait for the next one. Oh, let me look at the next video. So anyway, I hope you like this conversation. It's a good segue to come back. Again, I know it's been taking a while for me to do these things, but life gets fucking busy. So like, again, I don't want to create something in which like it's going to be half-assed. I at least want to put my purpose and why to show you and believe that this is it. This is something where I feel like you can benefit from. Like, it's not about me, it's about you, the viewer, who's reading this and understanding. It's like, wow, this is going off, and this guy's legit. He is the Gandhi of me. I don't know. Or he's the enlightened one he's making a lot of sense right now. So I hope that is the value of the gift thing. This is my intention of every single podcast, that is at least one person wakes up and realizes, wow, this guy was wild. He blew my mind last night. He said this. Don't you believe he said this? Wow. And that's where I'm getting at. Anyway, it's been an honor and pleasure as always having conversation like this. Yes, I know I need to make it more time. Again, if you do miss me so much, you can always go to TikTok. That's the other side of me. You'll probably see me do on TikTok these editing, because I'm going to edit a version of this that's going to be available for, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then we'll put another one, the actual edited version, back in YouTube. But I think it's just like, again, I do appreciate the people who are taking the time to listen to this. Yes, it can be dense, I understand, but I hope the people who actually, the ones that get attracted to this by law of attraction, I hope this wakes you the fuck up to do amazing shit. Anyway, it's been an honor and pleasure to always talk to you. Again, I'm here on YouTube, but I do have a full catalog of all my previous podcasts. You can see my growth from that. So I encourage you to go to my Spotify page, my Apple Podcast page, my full catalog. I think we're now at 50 episodes, I think. So again, get out and do the crazy shit. Get out and get out your fear, because you will absolutely realize this is the best stuff ever for you. Anyway, all right, guys, it's been a pleasure and honor. We will see each other again. Until next time, thank you so much. You all have a great and wonderful evening, morning, afternoon where you are. Talk to you guys later.